Welcome to Grade 12 Advanced Mathematics, Unit 5 Integration, 5.4 The Definite Integral. In this video, we will understand the notion of a definite integral. Also, we will compute a definite integral using Riemann sums. Also, I will train you how quickly you can get it via calculator. Also, we will find the area under a curve on a given interval. In addition, we will compute total distance and change in position. These are the main keywords we will come across in this topic. So here we go. Welcome to Hasna Spot Math. Let's spark our math skills together. So let's dive into the topic area under a curve. How can you find area under a curve? It's so simple. Using the Riemann sum, sigma I equal to 1 to n f of ci delta x. But please don't forget, limit n approach to infinity. N should be a large number. Please note, limit n approaching to infinity, sigma I equal to 1 to n f of ci delta x is nothing but our definite integral. Integral a to b f of x dx. That's why if they specify to use Riemann sum, and if it is a writing question, you will be applying Riemann sum. Otherwise, you are free to use the calculator with definite integral. Please trace the definite integral symbol in your calculator. Don't forget to enter your lower limit and the upper limit. Then the function with the correct proper bracket. Dx is by default, it's already there in the calculator. Do not forget to press equal to sign. You will get the answer. Please note, in case if f is continuous on the closed interval, then f is integrable on AB. Also, area under the curve will always be greater than or equal to 0. Let's start with our first question. As I told in the beginning, since it is definite integral which you have your lower limit and the upper limit, you can enter directly in the calculator. And what did you get? Please comment below. Exactly, the answer will be 361. Approximately, you will get this as your answer. Now let's use the midpoint rule to estimate this definite integral. For that, you should remember our first step to find delta x. What's the formula of delta x? Can I know, please? Exactly, b minus a over n. So when you use the formula delta x, b minus a over n, what is your b? Your upper limit. And your lower limit is referred as a. N reminds us n itself. In that note, we will get it as 15 over n. Now, as in the question they mention midpoint rule, you will be using the midpoint rule CI formula, which is half of your xi minus 1 plus xi. What is xi minus 1 xi? It is nothing but the closed interval, the left part and the right side. That is known as xi minus 1 plus xi. So, when we continue over here, the formula says a plus I minus 1 by 2 delta x. You can directly enter there, okay? A plus I minus 1 by 2 delta x. A is nothing but your lower limit 0. Delta x already you found 15 by n. I minus 1 by 2 will be rewritten as I minus 1 by 2 times 15 over n. So when you proceed further to find sigma, f of ci, just now you got, delta x also you found it, so you will substitute. You cannot enter it directly to the sigma notation in the calculator because we don't know what is n, and we know definite integral n will be considered as the large numbers. So limit n approaching to infinity technique, you are supposed to use it. So let's pick our n to big numbers like 20, 50, 100, 1000, like that. You can consider the large numbers. Once you consider large numbers, you will get your Riemann sum values like this. And so we round it off approximately the definite integral answer as 361. Here they ask to give an area interpretation of this particular limit. You all know limit n tends to infinity sigma I equal to 1 to n f of ci delta x is same as your definite integral a to b f of x dx. Here when you look at a to b, it is nothing but 0 to 2 pi. Please note your calculator should be in radian mode. And then when you give sine x dx, what did you get your answer? Please do comment below. Exactly, the answer is nothing but 0. Now, how we can give an area interpretation of this particular expression? You all should remember the sin x graph, right? Yes, exactly. It's like a wave. But please note when you draw the wave, you will be having your intersection point with x-axis on 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, etc. So it's equally divided. From 0 to pi, it is above the x-axis. From pi to 2 pi, it is below the x-axis. Let's use this concept. Above the x-axis, we'll consider as positive, and below the x-axis, we'll consider as negative. So when you're clubbing together from 0 to 2 pi, positive value, equal amount of negative value, which will actually result in 0. So how we have proceeded, just we randomly pick our n as 10. So 5 above the x-axis and 5 rectangles below the x-axis, and we club it to know the answer. And yes, of course you will get it as 0 because area rectangle above the x-axis, below the x-axis nothing but the negative, right? So plus of minus, which is negative. So automatically you will be concluding the answer as 0. This is really important definition. When you look at over here, the signed area and the total area, this difference you should know. When I consider the signed area between the function and the x-axis, when we are looking at here, we are traveling from A until C. When we look for signed area, it is considering with the sign A1 minus A2. Why A1 positive? Because it's above the x-axis. Why A2 negative? It is below the x-axis. So your signed area is A1 minus A2. At the same time, when you look for your total area, when you are considering your total area, you will be ignoring the signs. Then comes the modulus, absolute value of area. Area always remains as positive. We'll conclude on that note. There it is A1 plus A2. Please make note, otherwise you will fumble when you handle the problem solving. If you note up this question is a definite integral. So when you enter in the calculator, what will you get for 0 to 2? You will get negative 4 by 3. I request all students to respond via your comment so that I as a teacher will come to know, yes, you got the concept and you are answering it in comments as well. And then you can check the video by pausing it out. Now when you move over here 0 to 3 x square minus 2x, you will get your value as 0. So let's now check how to do it manually using Riemann sum. So when you look at here, you can choose any midpoint or endpoint, right hand point or left hand point, as they didn't mention any. The previous question, if you notice, they mentioned use midpoint rule. That's why we stick on with midpoint rule. Here, as they didn't mention any rule, you can choose your favorite. I suggested right hand point because it's easier one. So let's move with finding delta x, b minus a by n. where you get your A as 0. First we are doing part A, okay? So A is 0 and B is 2. So B minus A over N resulted in 2 over N. Followed by your CI is A plus I delta X because we are following right endpoint. Now when you substitute, you will get your value as 2I over N. Let's go back and substitute it over here. F of CI, your new CI is 2I by N, and you will substitute it in x square minus 2x. What is the value of x? 2I by N. That's why you got 2I by N the whole square minus 2 times 2I by N, and this is delta x 2 by N, which is a constant. In the next step, I have taken the constant 2 by N outside and I have distributed the rest within the sigma. Here again 4 by N square, I took it outside. So already you have 2 by N. So 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. N multiplied by N square is N cube. In the next step, I multiply 2 with 4, which is 8. N with N, which is N square. And hope you remember the sigma I square formula, which is N into N plus 1 into 2N plus 1 by 6. Also sigma I equal to 1 to N I formula is N into N plus 1 divided by 2. Now let's open all the bracket using FOIL method. You will get this particular step. Now if you notice, you have 3N square and you have N here. So your LCD will be of 3N square. So when you check over here, 8N square by 3N square, or else even you can distribute the limit using that technique also you can do it. So the highest number 8N square by 3N square, and separately when you apply the limit you got 4N by N. Or else, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can find the LCD, you can cross multiply and then you can simplify. It takes a little longer. So I prefer this method. Limit N approaching to infinity, the highest terms, also minus limit N approaching to infinity, the highest terms. Now since n square having same degree, you are considering 8 by 3. Same here, n and n have the same degree. You are dividing the leading coefficients 4 over 1. Now when you simplify, you got negative 4 by 3, which is what you got it from the calculator also at the beginning. Now let's confirm integral 0 to 2. Look at here, it is below the x-axis, the blue shaded region you can see over there, and so the value is negative. So let's move with the second one. Second one also using the Riemann sum we will proceed. So right hand point delta x. This time your lower limit is 0 whereas your upper limit is 3. So it is 3 minus 0 over n, 3 over n. Now right hand point a plus I delta x will result in 3I over n. When you substitute it in your Riemann sum, 3I by n the whole square. Here also the function remains the same, x square minus 2x. Now the common constant term 3 by n, you will take it outside and distribute the sigma. In the next step, you can take the constant outside, 9 by n square. So 9 into 3 is 27, n into n square is n cube. Similarly, 3 into 6 is 18, n into n is n square. Now you will apply the rule for I square and I, summation of the first n positive integers, also the summation of the squares of the first n positive integers. The formula is n into n plus 1 to n plus 1 by 6. Also we have applied n into n plus 1 by 2. Once you open the bracket, you will get the function like this. If you want, you can simplify further, but otherwise you can distribute the limit. Here the highest degree is n square, so we prefer 18n square over 2n square, and the second half you get minus 9n over n. So 18 by 2, and the second half you will pick 9 itself, which result the value as 0. So this is separate. Now you are going to interpret. When you are interpreting the signed area, one is positive and the other one is negative, right? And so you will get it as A2 minus A1 equal to 0. So your A2 and A1 values remains the same. Now comes for the total area. Since it is the absolute value of A1 and A2, you got both 4 by 3 plus 4 by 3, which is equal to 8 by 3. Here 0 to 3 it remains 0 and 0 to 2 already you found. Now what about 2 to 3? This 2 to 3 is also 4 by 3 because your full value 0 means automatically from 2 to 3 it should be of the same value as A1 ignoring the sign. That's how you got 8 over 3. As I mentioned earlier, your signed area and total area, you can have it in this connection also. The change in position is nothing but your signed area without the absolute, and whereas your total area with absolute, your definite integral from 0 to t. Change in position is nothing but final position minus initial position. Total distance is overall total. So total area, please make note, you will have absolute value of the function. Signed in area, just change in position. So in this question we will find how the distance traveled, total distance as well as the object position. If you are using the calculator, if you find directly from 0 until 3 pi by 2, it will give you the object's position. But here you are asked to find the total distance traveled also. How to find it? How will you find total distance traveled? From 0 to pi and from pi to 3 pi by 2, right? So as per the sine graph, you all know 0 to pi is above x-axis, pi to 3 pi by 2 is below x-axis. In that note, 0 to pi as it is above the axis, it will be of positive, and pi to 3 pi by 2 it's below x-axis, so it will be of negative. Having this idea how to get total distance is nothing but the total area. Total area means the sum of the absolute value of A1 and A2, or else the signed area. So A1 plus A2, which can be treated A1 as 0 to pi and A2 is nothing but negative. So when you consider the total distance, you will get 2 minus of minus 1, which is 3 units. If you are going by the absolute region, your first half 0 to pi is nothing but 2 plus the absolute value of negative 1, which also will result in the value 3 units. So one of the method you can follow. Now let's move in finding object position. How will you find the object's position? It's nothing but the signed area. Signed area is A1 minus A2. So when you consider over here, you will get the value as initial position plus overall change in position, which is 0 plus 1, it's equal to 1 unit. Or directly from the calculator, you can take 0 to 3 pi by 2. So since it is of the signed area, you get 2 plus of minus 1. It's not absolute value. It's just the normal numbers. What you get, you will be calculating the to sum. That means it is 1 unit. Or you can get it directly from the calculator using definite integral 0 to 3 pi by 2 sin x dx, which is equal to 1. So the position you will get it from signed area, which is not absolute value, whereas total distance you will consider the absolute value. Yes, that's all. That's all for today. Keep revising, keep practicing. If you have any queries, please don't forget to comment below. Subscribe and share with your friends. Bye-bye.